Hi friends, we're going to learn about compare and contrast within and between text. Okay, this is your bookmark that you'll want to use as you are reading. We're going to determine similarities. Similarities means comparing. Differences means contrast. Okay, and we're going to talk about both of those in a minute. Use specific details from the text to compare and contrast. So we need lots of details. Here are some kind of questions that I think would help you compare and contrast, okay? So we're going to talk about how the story is, or the articles are the same or different. We're going to talk about the characters. We're going to talk about the setting. And the last part is we can talk about the lessons, or what did we learn in the article. One other question is, what do the characters do? That's just something that you could compare. Okay. All right. So you can choose any article, a Newsweek article. I have decided I'm going to choose this top one, and we read this story last week, Civil War Spy. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how we can compare and contrast an article. Okay. So inside these, what an article means is just the one story. So you could choose this story and it's just the 2 pages, or this page, and then grab another one and read this page. Okay, this is one article. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to talk about really quick the Civil War Spy. Okay, so in this article it talks about Sarah Emma Edmonds, and she wanted to fight for the North because it was true, they were trying to free slaves. And so she disguised herself as a soldier. She fought for the Union North, and she was in danger a lot. She was a spy. She was a medic to help people heal and get better, the soldiers get better. And she wanted to change history and wanted a better life. Okay, so this is her story. Now this story, it says Legends of the Wild West. And this is an African American cowboy whose name is Nate Love. And his story takes place in 1873. And what he would do is he would start way down in the South and bring cattle all the way up to Kansas. And that's how they would provide Kansas and the Midwest beef. He worked on ranches and he lived in the Wild West. He changed history in that he was one of the first African Americans to be a cowboy. He just wanted a better life, and his work was very dangerous. Okay? Alright, so we're going to compare and contrast these 2 stories. And how we do that is we use this thing called a Venn diagram. A Venn diagram. And it's these 2 circles that are overlapping. Everything in both stories that is the same is inside of this part of the circle. This is a different, and this would be different. So let me explain even more. So, like I said, we're going to compare Legends of the Wild and the Civil War Spy. First, let's talk about the Civil War Spy since we read it last week. So we are contrasting, or telling a difference. So in this story, it talks about a woman disguised as a soldier. She's a medic in the army, and she fought for the Union North. That is specific for that story. It is not in our other story. These details are not in the other story. Okay, the other story, The Legends of the Wild West, again, we're going to talk about the differences. There's an African American cowboy. He worked on ranches, and he was in the Wild West. Okay, so all these details are not in Civil War Spy. So we have 2 different details that are different. Now let's compare, and that's called finding the similarities. Let's compare. Okay, so they both are minorities. One is a woman, one is an African American, and they're heroic. They're heroes. They did amazing things. Both changed history. What they did was they changed history. They both wanted a better life. So that is the same for that. And they both had very dangerous jobs. Okay? So that is kind of how you compare and contrast two different articles. Now we have to write it into a paragraph. And how we do this is, these could be our table legs to support comparing and contrasting. Okay, so this could be table leg number 1, this could be table leg number 2, and table leg number 3. And that's how I decided to do 1, 2, and ended on 3. Okay, so when we start off, we have to have a main idea. Well, these are, our topic is history heroes. The main idea is we're comparing and contrasting. And we have to write the title of the articles in our main idea so the reader knows what we're talking about. Compare and contrast Legends of the Wild West and Civil War Spy. There are many similarities and differences. Okay, so I'm telling the reader we're going to talk about those similarities and differences. Number 1. First, in the Legends of the Wild West, it has an African American cowboy, Nate Love, who worked on ranches in the Wild West. Let's go back to our Venn diagram. Notice how these are the same words I'm using in my supporting detail. African American cowboy, worked on ranches, and in the Wild West. Okay. Second, in the article, the Civil War Spy, a woman, Sarah Emma Edmonds, disguised herself as a soldier. She worked as a medic for the North Union Army. Okay? And last, these two stories are similar as they talk about heroic minorities, women and African American, who change history. Both people wanted a better life, and their jobs caused them to be in danger. Okay, and our conclusion is we restate our main idea. In conclusion, reading these articles, there are many similarities and differences. Okay? Alright, so once we have our table, once we wrote our ideas down in the Venn diagram, we've got our paragraph very organized using our tabletop strategy. Now we put it in and make it look great on our paper. Okay, so History Heroes is our topic or title. Okay, so comparing and contrasting Legends of the Wild West and Civil War Spy. There are many similarities and differences. First, in the Legends of the Wild West, it has an African American cowboy, Nate Love, who worked on ranches in the Wild West. Second, in the article, The Civil War Spy, a woman, Sarah Emma Edmonds, disguised herself as a soldier. She worked as a medic for the North Union Army. Last, these two stories are similar as they talk about heroic minorities, a woman, and African American who change history. Both characters wanted a better life, and their jobs caused them to be in danger. In conclusion, reading these articles, there are many similarities and differences. Okay, my friends, you can do this. Just go find those two articles. Nice job. Kiss your brain.